Mm, let's see. Let's see. Hmm. Okay, come on in here. Listen. I think I'm live. Let me make sure. I think I'm live. Let me make sure. There we go. I got to make sure I am live. Listen, come on in here. Come on in here. If you're going to come and sit with me today, if you miss every other day in which I've went live, okay? I'm telling you right now, today ain't the day to miss. Okay? You could have said, you know what? I didn't do right. I missed all her other lives. I did. I missed all other ones because we're in season 2. This is episode 10 of season 2. So if you have not watched any of my other lives in season 1 and the previous 9 episodes that's in season 2, don't worry about them. Okay? Because you're going to want to watch them after you watch this because you're going to be like, wait a minute. What have I missed leading up to this point? That's what you're going to ask yourself. What have I missed leading up to this point? So you're going to go back. So like I said, if you miss any other day, today ain't the day you want to miss, all right? Listen, come on in here, come on in here. Welcome to the neighborhood. If this is your first time here, I am Yashika. Honey, folks like to call me fairy godmother. Yes, they do. They like to call me fairy godmother. And if you stick around long enough, you will know exactly why, honey. You will know exactly why. Hey there, Gwen. Listen, hey, thank you so much for joining me, honey. Thank you for so much for joining me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Look, I got a good one for y'all today, honey. I got a good one for y'all today, okay? Listen, I I've been celebrating my birthday all month. I've been celebrating my birthday all month, okay? I turned 53 on March 10th. And by the way, today is March 22nd when I'm doing this live, which is my oldest son's birthday. So he turns 31 today, okay? I remember being in the hospital. Lord have mercy, I remember all other things, okay? But that ain't what we're here for today, y'all. That ain't what we're here for today. I come here to share because, see, up until yesterday, or should I say even today, okay, I was wrapping up my birthday. In other words, all of the things that I did went all the way through yesterday that was planned for my birthday. So my birthday been going on long before the actual day. And so because I have some amazing friends that said, you going to do this weekend, and then this day we going to do this. And then because they had me all over the place, honey, I was like, listen, my birthday ain't just one day, okay? My birthday is just not one day. My birthday is, listen, all this time. Gwen say her birthday turned, listen, her daughter turned, listen, that's a Pisces sister. Look, she all in her emotions. One thing I know about us Pisces, honey, we stay in our feelings. I seen a guy the other day say, when it comes to Pisces, he say, we can tell you we'll love her, but I will fight you. I will fight you. One minute we'll be talking about, I don't like you, I don't like you, but I love you, I love you, I love you. You want to go for coffee? And I was like, you know what? That's about right. I say, honey, everything you said is about right. Okay, everything you said is about right. So listen, I love me. I I think we the sweetest signs. I think we are the sweetest signs there is, honey, because they say we the 12th sign. So by us being a 12th sign, that means that we are encompassed of all other signs. Okay, that's who we are. That's who we are. And so look, this episode of Hood Parents and Live 10, season 2, episode 10. All right, my birthday was the 10th. This is episode 10. So it was just really fitting for me to talk about some of the things that I've learned in my 53 years of living. And this is not just these things. And these are things that I know for a fact that if you don't learn these things, life will teach them to you. That's what I do know. There are things that I know for a fact that if you don't learn these things, life will force you and teach you to learn these things. They will make you learn these things, all right? Whether you want to or not. Make me think about my oldest boy that turns 31 today. Baby, I remember when he said he didn't want to grow up. If it was up to him, he would have stayed at home with his mom as long as he could. But like I told him, I said, no, honey, I didn't have you for me. I had you for the world. That's what I had you for. I had you for the world. And so when I think about those type of experiences and why I'm here, it makes me think about why I established this particular platform. All right. And like I said, if this is your first time here, welcome to the neighborhood. You are watching Hood Parenting. Okay. And so if you are stopping by for the first time, consider buying some real estate, okay? Well, it don't cost you nothing though. It don't cost you nothing to subscribe, turn on your notifications. So when I go live or post a vlog, because I've been vlogging lately, honey. Listen, I got a lot of stuff in my computer. The vlogging is not the problem. It's to getting stuff edited and getting it uploaded. That's what the problem come in at. And so once I can figure out how to make all that do it itself, or get to the point where I can have somebody else to do it for me, baby, y'all will get so much more content. Y'all will get so much more content, okay? But look, y'all see my t-shirts? I've had these for a while and I'm still working with it, but hood-ish, because I'm a little bougie, I'm a little hood. Listen, I think I am all the things, honey. I am all the things, and that makes me remember, listen, why this platform was created. For me, I think about growing up in my life, and I've said it before, and I've said it many times before. I was raised by a single mother, right? She was married to my father, but they were never together. However, she was a young 16-year-old when she had me. My father was in the military, and you know how that goes. And so she didn't have a lot of life skills to be able to teach me. And so I don't know if that was a good thing for me or what, but what I do know is because of those things, my brother and I learned a little bit from everybody. Everybody that we came in contact with, whether it was our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, our teachers, just people, other kids' parents in the neighborhood, we learned a little bit from everybody. And so when I think about this platform, and I think about the probability of, because I don't have grandkids yet. So the idea of me having great grandkids, I might see them, but they may not remember me. So when I think about this platform, I think about the things that I want them to know, the things that I want everybody to know. Because see, even if you don't take everything that I say to you and say, well, I'm gonna teach, I'm gonna take all those things and put them in my kit bag. What I do know is that you pick up bits and pieces from everybody. So when you come in this neighborhood, what I call hood parenting, right? This is where you come in here and you stop on in and you be like, you know what? I went over here by that house, which is a video or a vlog or whatever, and I picked something up over there and I like that. And I'm gonna put that in my tool bag or my kick bag or my traveling bag, whatever I need. And so when it's time for me to bring it out, I will. And so when I think about how I raised my oldest son, he was my first one, the one born today, 31 years ago. I remember being a 22-year-old woman when I gave birth to him, and his father and I were married. However, we didn't stay married long after he was born. And I just remember the things that I was learning. I wanted him to remember those things. So I remember talking to him, telling him, listen, son, I know you don't know what I'm telling you right now. I know you're not going to remember anything I'm saying, but I need you to remember some of this. And so I was like, listen, when this happened, you make sure you do this and this and this third. Because I didn't know what tomorrow brought. Me being a soldier, me being all the things, in my mind, I had to make sure that he was good no matter what, whether I'm with him or without him. I wanted him to be able to be sustainable. I wanted him to be able to know how to fry some chicken. I wanted to be able to wash some clothes. I wanted him to be able to make decisions, right? Make sound decisions. I wanted him to be able to problem solve, right? And sometimes we're not going to have all of what we need. Sometimes we only have a little bit of information, but we got to make a decision really, really fast. And I know that for me in the military, that's something that I was strategically trained on, right? Not something that I know that my upbringing had a lot to do with it, but I also know that you didn't have time to really soak. You didn't really have time to really say, okay, well, let me move this piece over here and then see what happens. And not, no, sometimes you got to just make a decision. You got to keep going. You got to make a decision and you got to keep going. And it's just that simple. And so tonight, I want to talk about 5 of the lessons that I know for a fact that these are things that if you don't learn them on your own, life is going to teach you one way or the other. All right. And then, like I said, there's a lot of them, but I know for a fact that these are the ones that when I think about the last, I would say 10 years of being a civilian, right? When because I've been a civilian now almost 10 years in June, where I've been retired from the military. And I think about things like that. And my number one, or the things, and it's not in the order, it's just my top five. Number one thing that I think about, life lesson, is that people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. And I know that we've heard this many times before, but it's just So listen, when y'all show up on here, as a little side note, I show up with tea, okay? Because remember, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, okay? I'm not one thing, I'm all things. Little bougie, little hood. I got my little tea, got my wine over there, I got some water, okay? So on this note, I don't want no tea. I want some wine, okay? People will play in your face. People will play in your face. Hmm. So when you don't set your boundaries with people and let them know exactly what you mean and how you are very stern in something, people will try to do things and they will see how much they can get away with things. Okay. And so I know for a fact that people treat you how you allow them to treat you. And it's just that simple. And you teach them. And so if you teach them that when it comes to your standards, when it comes to your boundaries, when it comes to what you will and won't accept, when you set the bar low, right? You ever hear that saying, you give a person an inch, they'll take a mile? Hmm. That's how it is. So when you set the bar low, that's giving them an inch. They're going to take more from you. I promise you they are. They're going to take more from you. So now your bar is falling down and down. And then every time you start to believe that's where your bar is at, the next person that come along will even try you again and bring your bar down some more, right? And that's why in this world, if you don't know who you are, people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. Okay. So that's why it's important to make sure that you stand firm in your boundaries and your beliefs and you set your stand. Listen, I'm not tolerating this. I'm not tolerating that. I'm gonna give you a little example. The other day, I was at a restaurant. Part of my since I've been on my celebration of my weekends for my birthday, I was at this after church spot. It was like a brunch spot, really nice spot. And there was this gentleman that was there, and he was one of the regulars. Okay, I found out he was one of the regulars. And but time come and there was a woman that got up and went by, and she was a younger woman, but a woman nevertheless. And he made a comment. I was the only woman. There were three gentlemen and myself, and we weren't all together, but we all kind of was sitting in the same spot. And so he made the comment about the woman when she walked by and pertaining to, because she had on some jeans and a shirt, but it was nothing revealing, but her shape. When you're a woman, you wear a pair of jeans. If you shape a certain way, I mean, unless you're in a moo, you're going to see what you see. It's just that simple. So this gentleman made a man. I'm going to call him a man. I'm going to call him a man. I'm not going to call him a gentleman. I'm going to call him a man. Okay, he was a man, but he was not a gentleman. Okay. This is wine time. This is when I drink the wine. Okay. Well, he decided that it was a good idea to talk about this woman and about what he would do to her had it was this and then he said it, and then the first time he said like like that was one thing, she's an attractive woman, whatever. But then he started to sexualize her. He started to do it in a way that was very disrespectful. And I said, whoa, 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 wait a minute now, partner. What you not gonna do while I'm sitting here is, and I had on my finest church, attire, honey. I was dressed to the nines, baby, okay? But again, hood-ish. Hood-ish. Okay, I ain't forgot where I come from. Okay. Listen. I'm like, I've been fighting all my life, baby. I, they say if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Okay. Well, anyway, time come, he said something about the woman in her attire. And I said to him, hey, what you not gonna do? He said, well, you can't tell me she didn't know when she wore them jeans. I said, wait a minute, sir. And like I told him, you say what you want to say when you around nothing but men, because I don't know how y'all talk. I'm not gonna try to pretend that I control a conversation when men are involved, because men gonna be men, people gonna be people, whoever, right? But when you are in the presence of a lady, you will not disrespect another lady, and it's just that simple. And so it made it very uncomfortable for him. And so one of the guys that was there, because he looked at one of the guys like he wanted them to help him out, because it was three of them and one of me. One of them looked at him and said, "Hey, partner, I was you, I would just stop." Because it was because he knew it was very inappropriate. And it was just that simple. And so for him to try to justify the reason why it was okay for him to continue to talk about that woman and her shape and her clothes and sexualize her, not in front of me, sir. You go somewhere else. So it made it uncomfortable. I didn't give a crap. And I went on about my business and was had me a good old time. Had me a good old time. I'm sorry because you did that. I didn't do it. You know better than that. What you was pushing the envelope, that's a boundary. All right. I'm a 53-year-old woman. I refuse because I'm the standard. So I already know this young girl couldn't have been no more than 20, maybe her mid to late 20s. But even still, she's a woman. If I don't check him, right, then he's going to continue to do it. And so to a young woman like her, she look at him like no. And so I hope that anybody that heard that conversation knew that I meant business. And so that's what I mean by people treat you how you allow them to treat you. And so that's why you have to set your standards and your boundaries with people, and you have to be very firm, right? I don't want you to be disrespectful to other women in front of me because I am a woman. I am a lady. And so you treat me with, listen, you don't talk about another woman in front of me. I don't care what she got. I don't care. Listen, I don't care, right? I don't care. I'm about to go on about my business. You gentlemen can talk, but you're not going to do it in front of me. Just that simple, right? Number two, desperation makes you look cheap. And I say this all the time. If you are lacking something, you can be bought for cheap. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say, for example, you know somebody that has the money you need, or they have the connections you need, the proximities you need. They have something that you need. And you feel as though your talents alone won't get you there, right? So you kind of like make the deal with the devil. You're like, look at what's going on in Hollywood right now with P. Diddy and all that. You kind of make a deal with the devil because you say, well, if I do this, then I'll get that. But then not realizing that eventually that thing that you did is going to catch up to you, because guess what? It's being hung over your head. And when something's being hung over your head, your value, you start to be devalued, because now you got to do everything to work in parameters of what this person sets for you. So when you lack something, you can be bought for cheap. And so you got to know that. So you cannot go around making deals with the devil, because like the old folks say, eventually you're going to write a check that your ass can't cash. Eventually you're going to write a check that your ass can't cash. And it's just that simple, right? And so that's something that I've definitely learned, right? And so when it comes to the moment you move, so right here it says the moment you move from neediness to self-respect, the entire negotiation change. Because now they know you need something from them. And so they're gonna, they're gonna make you beg and gravel, right? Know your worth. If it's something that you want and you know it's meant for you, you got to do the work to get it. There's no shortcuts. There's none of those things where you say, well, I'm going to skip through these paths in order to get here. Because what I do know is that you will repeat a lesson. You will repeat a lesson. And I think that's one of the things in here. You will repeat that lesson. So skipping ain't going to get you there. What's going to do is that it might get you a little bit in one area, but in the other areas, whether it be your dignity, your pride, your morals, your self-esteem, something that's going to be real low. And as that start to get low, baby, you could be bought for cheap, honey. Because now they got you on camera. Now they got you on camera doing things or whatever, right? Actually, y'all know the story. Y'all watch the news, okay? Because them people felt like whatever reason they needed to do whatever they needed to do to get themselves elevated in Hollywood, to get themselves elevated in music, whatever it was. And I'm not just talking about them. I'm talking about people in general, and I'm using that as an example. And so when you don't know your worth, baby, desperation will make you cheap. So so don't do it. Know your value. Work hard. And it's going to take, listen, they say if you want to hear God laugh, tell me your plan. If you want to hear God laugh, tell me your plan. I said by the time I was going to be 50, I was going to be a millionaire. Now, I'm not saying I'm not worth $1 million, but I know I don't have 7 figures in my bank account. And so I should have been a little bit more specific when I said that. Okay, now, am I going to get there? Absolutely. But in terms of my calendar and his calendar is something different. But I got to keep on putting one step in front of the other, and I can't make no deals with the devil because I don't want to watch my back. I've been taking care of me for a long time. So I can trust me. And it's just that simple. I can't trust the word of anybody else, so I keep doing what I need to do. And if that means that it takes the long way around, honey, I'm good because that means I can still sleep at night because I ain't made no deals with nobody, all right? So that's the second lesson that I know that needs to be taught. And if you don't learn it early, honey, life gonna teach it to you late, and you might lose some things before you get there. Lesson number 3, discipline will take you further than motivation ever will. And that's one thing I know to be true. You got to have the type of discipline. Let me tell you something. I hear people tell me all the time about how they could have made it in the military, especially now that I'm retired. Now that I'm retired, just like a lot of my friends, I'll have people say, I could have did that, I could have did that. And you may have. But what I do know is that the military taught me a type of discipline that I wouldn't have got had I stayed around my neighborhood. And here's what I mean. I don't mean just discipline where I got to be able to say, well, I'm going to abide by this rule over here. I'm talking mind, body, soul, spirit, everything. You got to have all your shit together. Okay, because here's the thing. You can't be out here as a soldier and you're not healthy, for example, right? So you can't be out here not having your health in check, not taking care of your health, not eating properly. Why? Because that's going to affect your promotion. That's going to affect the way you perform your job. And so you got to stay in shape. You got to do these things over here, right, in order to get promoted, in order to do this, right? Mind, body, and soul. Then on top of that, when it comes to your personal life, you can't be out here reckless, doing reckless things and then think the military is going to allow you to do these things over here. No, because there's some things you want to do, places you might want to go, schools you might want to do. Listen, things you might want, you can't do none of that. So you got to be disciplined in all areas, right? Relationships, you got to be disciplined in all areas. Not only that, but you got to be disciplined to show up every day. I don't care if you, listen, y'all know how many times, let me tell y'all want to hear a good old laugh. Y'all want to hear some good old, now I don't mean good old laugh, like, but if you want to entertain yourself, go to a military post after like a 4-day weekend. And when I say 4-day weekend, it's 4 days we have off. There's no, so if the 4th of July falls on a Thursday, we're going to have that Thursday and Friday off. If it falls on a Friday, we probably going to have that Friday and Monday off. Okay, if it falls on a Monday, we're going to have that Monday and Tuesday off. But no matter what, every holiday is a 4-day weekend. Okay, so we be off all the time, more than what people know. Okay, we off all the time, okay? They work us hard, but they give us time off. Now, with that being said, you want to entertain yourself, go to a formation. So if 4th of July is that, let's say the 4th of July is that Saturday. So they gave us Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off, okay? Because they're going to give us 4 days off no matter what. Even if it's on a Saturday, they're going to give us 4 days off. If it's on a Sunday, they might give us Friday and Monday, whatever. But let's say it's on a Sunday. So the 4th of July is on a Sunday, so everybody got that Monday off. They got to be at work Tuesday. Well, the average soldier going to still be partying on Monday. The average soldier, because they didn't even get back in town until about midnight, okay, going into Tuesday. They just done pulled up from being out of town. They didn't went somewhere for the 4-day weekend. They didn't went to the fireworks. They didn't do something else. So they've been partying all weekend. They started okay, if the holiday was on a Sunday, they gave us Friday and Monday off. They've been partying since Thursday evening, okay? Because after work Thursday, they didn't got in their car. They didn't went wherever they going to go, and they've been partying. Baby, you want to entertain yourself, go to a formation, a military formation of a whole bunch of soldiers, especially young soldiers, the day after a 4-day weekend. Baby, when I tell you you ain't got to go to a liquor store to get drunk, baby, you could smell it everywhere. You could smell the aroma. You could smell it everywhere. You can do all the things, right? You can smell everything. They didn't, especially if you got a good commander, they gonna run you. They gonna run the soldiers because they know they still hungover. So they gonna run the shit out of them. Okay, they gonna run the shit out of them. Okay, baby, them soldiers on the side, they upchuck and they damn doing all the things, right? And that moment they regretting all their decisions that they done made since Wednesday evening, going into that Tuesday first formation, okay? It's regretting everything. You hear me? They regret everything in that moment. But I say that to say that no matter what, they still had to have discipline. So no matter what they did all weekend, no matter what they did for them last 4.5 days, you better get your behind up and you better be ready to fight the war come that Tuesday morning. You better be ready to be in the fight. And if eventually you doggone burn the candle at both ends, honey, it's going to show because something going to start going down, whether it be your work performance, your health, your doggone, you not getting promoted, your peers is leaving you. Baby, something, you going to feel something. Your family listen, you're going to feel something. So you start getting yourself together. Okay. So like I said, discipline is needed. You got to have discipline in this life. You got to, because when you're not motivated, right? Because see, motivation, you rah, 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 rah. You know how you go to a business meeting or you go to see somebody like Tony Robbins or Mel Gibbons or Mel Robbins, somebody like that, or whoever. You go out there and you rah, 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 baby, for about a good month or so after you come back. Maybe, you know what, I'm going to give too much. 3 weeks, 21 days, anywhere 14, 21 days, you motivated. You ready to work, 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 work. Okay, come that month time frame, you're like, I'm not so motivated no more. I'm not so motivated. Everything I heard at the conference, I didn't took all the notes I didn't took. I didn't ran back through the notes. I didn't created some content. I didn't implement all the things I said I was going to implement. I didn't did all of the things, but now your motivation is gone. This is where discipline kick in, no matter what. This is where discipline kick in. And that's the part that most people can't do because they don't have the accountability within themselves. And so in order for you to really get to where you are in this life, or you want to go in this life, honey, that's needed. So see, the life you want is built on repetition. So you can't just saying, well, I'm going to accomplish this and I'm going to accomplish that, and you don't keep doing it. Because see, you might say, well, I did this the same way 99 times. It ain't working. And you quit because you feel like that was enough, because you gave up, because you say, you know what, right? Repetition. You got to keep going. You say, well, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to change it up. No, you might can't change up. You might got to keep going the same way, because it's on that 100th time where you see a difference. And it might not be a lot. You know what I'm saying? I've been going to the gym. I've been going consistently to the gym at this one spot. Now, typically in the past, I was a runner. I do things on my own, but I decided I'm going to go to Burn Boot Camp. Okay, now I went in there and I'm not trying to lift no weights, because a long time ago I was a power lifter. But anyway, I just started lifting weights. And I noticed the other day, I was like, girl, your shoulders is starting to look good. I was like, girl, where it come from? Right? So what I'm saying is I didn't notice. I didn't even notice, because I'm not in there doing too much. Okay. Not at this age. Baby, no, I'm not doing too much. However, the little bit that I do every time I go in there, which is 6 days a week, anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week, it shows. And so, honey, these shoulders will be ready for the doggone summer. You hear me? These shoulders will be ready for the summer. And so I may not have done a lot, but I did enough where I'll continue. I had discipline, I had structure, and I kept on repeating it every day. So every day for the last year, I've been going to this gym 5 or 6 days a week. I've been doing exactly what they're telling me to do, and it's been showing. It's been working. Who would have knew? Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it is what I'm saying. Who would have thunk? Because I'm thinking to myself, you know what can this do? I'm a runner, But baby, it's starting to form. It's forming, and I didn't even know it snuck up on me. So I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right? So even when I don't want to go, like, it's been those days. I think about them shoulders, baby. And I think about the fact that we getting closer and closer to the summer. So I get on up and I go. And I think about the fact that I like to drink wine. Yes, I do. And so if I like to drink wine and I want my shoulders still look good, baby, I can't be burning the candles at both ends, okay? Because again, like I said, it got to be mind, body, and soul, okay? Well-rounded. You can't be out here doing all this and you don't go work out. You can't be doing this, you don't work out, because eventually it's going to show. See what I'm saying? See how the military teach you to be well-rounded? Mind, body, and soul, honey. Number 4, you can love people and still outgrow them. It's just that simple. Everybody ain't going to go where you going. Everybody not going to go where you going. And I'm not just talking about the people that is optional in your lives. These are people that's in your life and there was no option. Sometimes you got to leave them where they at. And I don't mean in a place of, in other words, when it comes to some people, I heard a song, y'all. I'm sorry. The fairies are talking. I wish you could hear that. I hear you can hear. I wish you could hear that. Right? That's right, Gwen. It's like I can hear this song that's being played. I wish you can hear it, but just that quick. When we talk about people and outgrowing people, it's one of those things where sometimes you have to leave people where they at. And it's one of those things when I think about that, I think about I can deal with them, but I know I can't have certain conversations. I can't change their minds on certain things. I can't, there's going to be certain things that's said to me and I have to be okay with saying, you know what? Because see, what I learned in this life, this is what I learned about myself. And I've learned, and I think the older I get, I wish I had known this earlier. I do. I wish I had known this earlier in my life when I was in my late teens, early 20s. My words, when I speak, people sometimes listen. And so because of that, my words have the ability to make or break somebody. And so I choose to use my words very carefully now. Like, in other words, because I know that, I make sure that I pick my words very carefully, because I know that in that moment, even if that person is not being their best self, I cannot align myself up with what they're doing. I have to be okay with what my gift is, what I'm chosen to do. And so when it comes to certain people, I have to be able to do like this, and I have to leave them where they are. And sometimes that's even in our wording. It's okay not to get the last word. It's okay not to have your point understood. It's okay not to hear that closure. It's okay to not get them to say, you know what, I'm sorry. Whatever it is you think that we need, you have to just sometimes leave people where they are. Because see, for them to admit to anything or say anything, to say, well, I'm sorry, or I didn't know, or to excuse themselves, right? Because you want to be able to push forward. You feel like this one thing is, you know what? You have to be okay and say, you know what? I'm going to have to be okay, because I'll never know. Because even if they told me what their reasoning was or what they did, I'm still not going to get it. So when I say leave people where they are, you have to sometimes, if that was the incident, leave it there. You have to keep going. Because those things right there, you will never get where you want to go. And sometimes we'll stay stuck there. And so when I say leave people where they are and you outgrow people, I mean even that. Because I'll hear people say, you know what, I just want my mom, or I want my dad, or I want this person, or I want them to acknowledge they're not. We have to meet people where they are and leave them where they are and outgrow that situation. And not just, and that's what I mean when I say deal with them. You have to be okay with that. And I don't think people really understands what that means when people say you have to leave, you have to outgrow people. It don't mean you don't deal with them on life. It's just that there's certain situations that they're right there, and they're not gonna, and you have to and you have to keep going. Because if you stay there and waiting for them to close that out for you, you'll stay stuck where they are. And you have to keep going, because you're gonna outgrow them. Or should I say, you need to outgrow them, right? And I hope that's very clear. I hope that's very clear, because that's what that means when people say outgrowing people. You're you're not going to get what you need from folks, and you got to be okay with that. Okay? So I know for a fact that's something that I had to learn, and if you don't learn that, life will teach it to you. It will definitely teach it to you. And then the last thing is, self-leadership is a flex. And what I mean by that is, the more and more I talk to people, the more and more people need to know how to live their life. And I don't mean it in that way. In other words, they're waiting on permission. They're waiting on people to tell them, you can be yourself. You can want to do this and want to do that. I mean, and do that. You can work in your dream job and still get paid. You can be this person, and like, it's okay. And if those people over there don't like you, it's okay, because at the end of the day, you lead yourself, because all those people one day is going to be gone. Wherever they're going to be at, I don't know where they're going to be. And you're going to still be sitting with yourself. You remember how we was in COVID? Y'all remember how we was in COVID? If you wasn't with the person you was with, and you was with nobody, you was with yourself. Okay? So when you with yourself, you got to be able to say, okay, how do I survive? And if you don't have self-leadership, to have the discipline, to have the the intestinal fortitude, to have those morals, those beliefs, those boundaries, to have those things that you need in order to be okay, you wait on other people to validate you, to lead you, you will be stuck, because most people don't know where they're going. People are still trying to make a decision about what they're going to eat for dinner. Literally. They ain't even got no money. They ain't got nothing in the refrigerator. And then you're like, you know what? Do I want to go? They don't even know what they're going to eat for dinner. So you wait on people to tell you what to do with your life. One thing I know about this world is that if you don't know who you are, they will tell you who you are. If you don't know who you are in this world, the world will tell you who you are. hmm hmm And it's just that simple. And if you feel as though you don't know what version of you or where you are, people put you in a box. They be like, okay, this is where you are. You're supposed to be here. What? I hear people say things to me about what I'm not supposed to do. They'll say things to me, well, for example, because of the way I dress and everything, right? They'll say, well, I didn't think you would cuss. What? Like, in other words, why do you feel like you get to tell me who I am in this box? Like, the things that I do, because I'm a 420 advocate, okay? They'll tell me, I'm like, hold up now. So here's the thing. So does that make me a better person or a bad? I mean, in other words, for you to see this about me and say, well, you curse and you do this, does that mean I'm bad? Now, does it take away from me? Because I need to know what it does. Does it take away from me, or does it make you? Because what we talking about here? In other words, was I at 100 points, and now that you know I didn't did this, I didn't lost 10 points on my scores. Like I need to know what we're doing here, right? Because I'm like, like who are you? Like who are you? Like who are you? And that's why self leadership is important. Because if you don't know who you are, people will try to tell you. People will try to control you in your life and how you see yourself and the standards and the things that you supposed to do for them. What? I be looking at people like, let me tell y'all something. Y'all know my mortgage due. You know my mortgage due. You know, y'all know I see about a lot of folks. You know, heavy is the head that wear the crown. And baby, when I say that first of the month checks be rolling in, baby, and by the time the third come around, I'll be like, oh, what am I doing in my life? Why do I why do I have so many responsibilities? Right? So what I'm saying is that if you think I gotta worry about somebody, you think I got time to worry about somebody thinking about me and what they think about me and how I'm supposed to live my life. And when people get to that point in their lives, the world will be so much better. When we're not worried about what other people else think, when we're not letting somebody else tell us how to live our lives, when we are self-leading, when we are leading ourselves and not waiting on somebody else to lead us. That's the real flex, right? That is the real flex. So when I think about these 53 years of living and the things I've learned so far, listen, if you don't take nothing else from that, those are the things. Those are the things because life teaches us lessons. And there's so many of them to learn every single day. You know, and I don't know if, like I said, if you've been here before, but I've said this thing. So in the last few months, we are now in the month of March. Before we went into the holiday season last year, I don't know why, but I had this urge to go and learn to play chess. Now, anybody that know me know that I refuse to learn to play chess because of other reasons. Okay, now here's the thing. You know, I'm very well at, I play poker very well. You can Google me. Like I got the W-2s to prove it. Like I play poker very well. And so what I'm saying is that I do a lot of things very well when it comes to strategic games, but I would never learn how to play chess because of other reasons. But for whatever reason, I'm learning to play chess because why I know that I'm in a point in my life where there are certain things I have to learn. And one of those things I'm learning is how to make chess moves in life. Because when they talk about life, sometimes we are playing the long game. And so, although I know that I've always seen my life in certain forms, there are things that now that it's like I don't know. It's like the way I'm being dictated to move the pieces. It's like so I'm being obedient. And so I just say that as I continue on, I'm learning these lessons, but I know that these 5 lessons right here, these is the ones that has gotten me through. Because I already know if I don't lead me and if I don't know who I am, baby. And I had to be okay, like I said, with leaving people behind because not everybody is going to go where I'm going to go. It's just that simple. So I had to be okay with leaving people behind. Okay. I had to be okay with telling people, listen, you don't treat me well, no matter what, I deserve to be treated well. And so when they don't, listen, I let them go. I don't care how much it hurts. If somebody is not treating me good, baby, I cry and I cry and I cry. Because again, I'm a Pisces, honey. I'm a Pisces. So I wear my feelings, baby. I let you know I love love. I love everything love. And I'm not talking about that type of relationship. I'm talking about in general. I love people. I love whether anybody. I love people. So when somebody hurt me, I let them know, honey, you hurt me. I hate that for you because I loved you. Right? And like I said, this is anybody. I loved you. And I hate that for you that you hurt me. But here's the thing, I love me more. And so I'm not going to give you the opportunity to do it again. So I bow out, honey. I bow out and I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. Because why? People are not going to mistreat me. I know when I'm not wanted. Okay? It's just that simple. I don't care in what type of environment it is, whether it be a work environment, friendship environment, a love relationship, dealing with your family, friends, children, whatever. I don't beg nobody to be in my life, and you shouldn't either. Okay? So like I said, people treat you how you allow them to. So make sure you set the standards and your own boundaries. And desperation make you look cheap, honey. All right? So when you are not Like being who you supposed to be, you can be bought for cheap. You don't want that, right? Because every time somebody gonna start playing in your face, when they start playing in your face, your values start going up. Before you know, honey, you are on a red light special. Y'all remember Kmart's red light specials, right? For those of y'all who are old enough, y'all remember red light specials at Kmart. You don't want to be clearance and discounted and clearance, and after a while, nobody bought you, so they just go ahead and give you to the Goodwill. You don't want that. You don't want that for yourself. Okay, so don't discount yourself. Don't discount yourself. And so listen, y'all. Listen. And then the last thing is, before I forget, is discipline. You gotta have discipline in everything you do. I'm gonna exhale. I'm gonna exhale. I'm gonna exhale. I'm gonna exhale. Why? Because this one right here, this one right here. Because I think about my life, where I'm at, the things I've done, and this journey thus far. And the beautiful thing, I mean, and I know, yeah, just far. And it's just like every day, every day, every day, what is it can I do to know that I'm doing what I need to do in order to make life better for everybody, right? And so when I think about my experiences as a soldier, as a mother, as I've been divorced twice. You know what I'm saying? As a leader, as a woman in this world, a middle-aged woman, like the things that I'm doing, I'm like, listen, I already know I don't have all the answers, like no one does. But what I do know is that my experiences, my education, my situations, the things that I've done, I know that it's of value. And so I share this with people because I'm hoping that somebody can get some from it. And then on top of that, I want my great grandkids, honey, to be able to Google me, honey. I want them to be able to Google me. So listen, like I said, if this is your first time here, I hope you got something from it. And welcome to the neighborhood. You're watching Hood Parenting. I'm your host, Yashika Foster. And do me a favor, honey, and subscribe and tune in. And for those of you who've joined me, Gwen, thank you so much. And everybody else, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I will catch you guys on the next one. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.